I think it is very important to have side quests as an artist, which is why I am going to be trying my hand at doll making. I sketched out this design for Blyss Babies, which is what I want to call them because my name is Serenity Blyss and I just think that sounds really cute. I want them to have almost like chibi-like proportions. I want them to be very whimsical. I modeled this one after me, kind of, so that it could be like a little baby version of me in my own whimsical style, and I give her elf ears. And then I found this amazing video for making armatures, which I'll link below, but it's basically wire and tin foil to kind of create a base to model your doll around, and this is the little body. So that's what I have so far. And then I picked up some clay. This is polymer clay. I don't have much experience with clay, so we'll see how it goes, but I just want to try. And of course, I have my emotional support coffee. All right, let's get into it. Here's a better look at the drawing. It's very light. I used a pink pencil, so hopefully it's showing up, but it is going to be true to size because I'm going to be using this as a template to model my doll. This seems like the perfect moment for some candlelight. Okay, our first order of business is getting a piece of clay that I can cover this tinfoil with just as a base. I don't really know how much I'm gonna need, so I'm just gonna start with this much and see where we go from there. Polymer clay is a lot more like stiff than I expected. I don't know if I just need to spend time working it, but it's kind of hard to just to squish. I don't have a proper rolling pin for this, so I'm using, I think this is from like a thermometer. It's just a little casing, but it is a good shape for rolling. This really reminds me of being a kid with Play-Doh. I also don't really know how thick I should make it. I kind of want to have enough clay to like mold into, but I don't want it to be too much where the head is like very heavy. See if it's big enough. It's definitely not. I painted these little doll eyes, which they're very far from perfect, but it was a little bit tricky with the technique of actually painting on the back of the glass, so hopefully they look okay, but I'm gonna be sculpting those into my little face. This looks insane so far. Oh my god. I mean, she's beautiful in her own way. Shout out to people who work with clay because this is seriously like a workout. I have been working on this so long and this is what I have. Alright, well, let's keep going. I need to make some little pieces for eyelids. I have no idea how that's gonna work, but I'm gonna start with like a very thin piece. Maybe something like that, and then maybe a little bottom lid as well. Hello, Editing Serenity here. For anyone who is familiar with my work, I am actually a painter, and you could see a few of my paintings in the studio shot just before this one, but it was really interesting for me to try and sculpt something in the 3D. I'm so used to trying to create the illusion of depth on a flat panel, working to sculpt things in that way, but I do not have much experience actually creating something that is three-dimensional like this, and so it challenged me in a new way compared to painting where, I'm sculpting the front of her face and I'm thinking, okay, I think this is coming together, I think this makes sense. And then I would realize, oh, I also have to effectively be sculpting her side profile at the same time, and I have to be aware of what the back of her head is looking like, and making sure that everything is actually working together in that way, which I really appreciated because I don't always get to think about things in this way. Of course, when I'm painting, I am trying to think about what I'm painting as a 3D object, but actually creating that, having that in my hand and having to work on every single side of it was very interesting and fascinating to me, and I feel like if you sculpted and painted often, the practices would heavily complement one another. Your ability to see would become incredibly strong, and your hand-eye coordination as well, so I'm excited to keep learning both. I'm actually like super, super excited. This angle. I was so excited to finally be able to paint my dolls and really bring their personalities to life. Of course, as I mentioned before, I'm a painter, so I felt right at home getting to do this part, and I also have recently tried this new medium, which is acrylic gouache, which is what I used to paint my little dolls and what I'm currently using to paint my tarot deck, and I really love that medium. I feel like it's so versatile, and this doll specifically, I actually modeled after myself. I wanted to create my little mini-me, and it was really good practice in trying to capture a likeness in a whimsical style. Of course, like these proportions they aren't based on reality, but trying to put my face essentially on this model was a lot of fun, and I think it was really good practice as well because I want to open custom commissions for Blyss Babies. I want to turn you guys into little dolls. That's my goal, so I plan to open those up hopefully within the next month or two. Painting something that is already 3D like this reminded me much more of doing makeup than it did of like painting. So while I was in this process, that's more of what I was thinking about. I was thinking about how I apply my own makeup, and because this doll is designed after me, this is my little mini me Blyss Baby. I got to really do her makeup style the way I do my own, and that just, it really delighted my inner child. I would say this entire project really delighted my inner child. Making dolls, are you kidding me? Like, this is a dream project for little Serenity, and I'm finally at a point in my life where I can do it really well. You know, like, I have the skills that I have been building for years and years and years that I'm able to do this, and I'm really proud of that, and I'm very excited. I know it sounds kind of silly, but the fact that I am a woman who gets to wear pretty dresses and do my makeup and be feminine like my Barbie dolls as a child, and then I get to not only be that, but then create things that are also just like magical, whimsical fairy tale creations. That is my win in life. You know, as hard as things can be, and as much as I struggle with my mental health and I struggle just existing in this world, when I think about just how unserious yet completely substantial that is, existing as I am in this world and getting to partake in it in a way that genuinely delights me, is all it's really about. If you can just strip everything else away and realize that this body that you exist in is never going to exist again. You get to play her, you get to be her, you get to experience things, and you have this incredible power of manifestation which can take place in the very direct way of creating something, of having the capacity and the drive and the will to just explore what you are capable of and creating things with your own two hands, your own mind. Fuck AI. Fuck how ridiculous half of the things going on in the world are. Be honest, be authentic, embrace what you are actually interested in, and do not neglect the miracle of your existence. Everything else comes and goes. Everything else is out of your control. You can control who you are and how you show up for yourself in your daydreams and your artistry and your creativity and your sense of curiosity and whimsy, because ultimately that is the beginning and end of everything. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is thundering outside right now. Anyway, it has been a few hours. It's time for another little update with my dolls. I have been working non-stop to get them all painted. I think they're turning out very, very sweet. We have this one and this one, which I've based this one on me. So this is supposed to be like my little mini me, but this is how they're looking. I am going to attempt to give them real eyelashes now using these eyelash extensions that I have, so fingers crossed that works. I found this really cute pink fabric that I also thrifted, so I want to make her a little pink dress. I think it's a top, but I thought the bottom would be perfect, like as just a very simple little dress. Honestly, most of the work is already done for me, which is cool. I have been making so much progress with my little dolls. They are painted, they have dresses, they have eyelashes, they even have little jewelry and accessories. But now what they desperately need is hair. So I actually ordered these little tiny doll wigs, which are so funny to me. Now I have the difficult task of trying to glue these onto their heads without making a huge mess. We'll see. I will admit, it was quite sad for me having to cut this beautiful long hair. She really gave Rapunzel vibes, and part of me thought about keeping it that way, extra dramatic and long and luscious, but I ultimately felt like it would be a bit too overwhelming for the figure of this doll and kind of just the vibe that I was going for, so I did have to cut it. R.I.P. It also just seemed like quite a pain to manage, if I'm being honest, because I do intend to move this doll around a lot. I want her to appear in my content. I want her to appear all over my studio because this is my mini-me, you know? So, but also, I desperately want my hair to be as long as it can possibly be. My hair is pretty long right now, but it is kind of hard to grow your hair out long and maintain the density of it without it breaking and like getting thin at the ends. I really struggle with that. I tried to be mindful with like protective styles and brushing my hair very gently, but I'm not sure quite how long I could get it, but I'm going to try. Right now I'm just in a stage of like growing my hair out and seeing where it goes. If I get sick of it, maybe eventually I'll cut my hair into a bob and just surprise everyone because my hair is such a big part of my identity. I feel like I just associate so much of myself with it because I've had long hair for a very long time and I can't really imagine changing it now, but you never know, especially with me. I'm a Gemini. I make a lot of spontaneous, impulsive decisions, so I have a daydream once in a while about chopping all of my hair off and just imagining how light and weightless that would feel. I honestly can't even picture it. One of the most challenging parts of making this little doll after me was trying to match the hair color. I feel like my hair is blonde, red, and brown all at the same time. It's just like this weird hair color that has a lot of different tones in it. So I ended up trying to kind of dye, especially the roots of my doll's hair to match a little better. Girls, I did it. I think this is one of the best things I have ever created. It is a completely handmade, custom doll of me. This is my little mini-me. I'm calling them Blyss Babies. They're little hand-sculpted elf dolls. They are even poseable. They can sit down. They have really cute chunky feet and super long hair. I constructed, sculpted, and painted her entire body. I made everything from hand sewing the dress to wire wrapping her jewelry and her earrings. I even hand painted her glass eyes. So what do you think? Does she look like me? Do you like her? Do you think it's weird? Most importantly, would you want a custom doll of yourself? And if yes, please join my waitlist because the second I open commissions, you'll be the first to know. I can only probably do 1 or 2 a month because it's very time consuming, so stop, she looks so cute in that chair. She looks so tiny.